as on April 13th, Tobago and the Eastern Divisions, as per the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, well, they got a new head in ACP Collis Hazel. Now, we're going to discuss this morning his roles, especially as it relates to Tobago, and we'll get into the shared responsibilities of the Tobago and Eastern Divisions later on. But he's with us via Zoom this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you, and good morning to all your viewing audiences.
Well, sir, thank you for joining me. A son of Tobago, growing up in Tobago, spending many of your young years in Eastern Tobago, and now you are the head of the Tobago Division. You've made a suggestion of wanting to reduce the serious crimes by 10%. As we get to that particular point, how do we assess or analyze in trying to understand and get to the root cause of crimes in Tobago?
Okay, so basically I would want to say that getting into Tobago, what I did is to do, I did an in-depth analysis of the data that is coming forward from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And thus far, Tobago Police Division is enjoying a 32% reduction in serious crimes that are committed on the island. So straight off the bat, we are challenged like many other places in terms of dealing with our murders. And of course, this is not a good place that we would want to be able to treat with that instantly.
Mm-hmm. Not being a good place to treat with that instantly, but you've been in this role for just under a month now. In terms of formulating a crime plan, what is your plans? What are your plans, sorry, and your crime plan for Tobago?
Well, quite certainly, the plan for Tobago, as any other within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, focuses attention on making every place in Trinidad and Tobago safe. And therefore, the plans, we have to take into consideration that Tobago enjoys a relatively low amount of crime and criminal activity as a tourist destination. And it is my plan with my officers to ensure that we maintain that reduction. And therefore, in going about, in planning to treat with that, one has to understand what are the root causes, what are the precipitating problems that is responsible for the surge and upsurge in crime and criminality on the island. And like quick assessment would say that, of course, we are like any other areas with porous borders. We are an island that is bounded by from Trinidad by water and other Caribbean nations as well. And therefore, the whole question of persons coming to Tobago to commit crime and Tobagonians themselves participating in crime is quite prevalent. How do we treat with that? It is important that we need to strategize and to focus on, one, community engagement. What is one of the best ways in order to achieve that is to ensure that the information itself comes from the community. And that is one of the devices that we are going to do to ensure we do that. We want to restore and build public trust and confidence so that the information that we receive from the public would be treated in a most confidential manner. So we want to strengthen our community engagement with our stakeholders. We want to build effective community partnership And of course, we are going to focus by way of accessing intelligence and information by so doing that.
ACP Hazel, just based off of a statement that you made in your response, am I right to interpret that there is the suggestion, or your suggestion, that there are trainees who are coming across to Tobago? Those are the ones that are committing the majority of the violent crimes?
I will not say that at all, because crime, what we are seeing now is partnership in the criminal world, the inclusion of gangs in making their way in different territories in operation. So while it may be, we do have participation, involvement of Trinidadians, I am not going to put my head on the block to give the impression that Trinidadians are the only one committing crime. Tobagonians are encouraging crime and criminal activities on this island because the Trinidadians don't know here more than the Tobagonians do. And therefore, that is one of the areas that we have to be able to treat with and to ensure that we put all our strategies in place in order to reduce crime by way that is committed both by our local and by persons who do not reside here.
Now, in terms of your leadership style, which is also key and crucial to any crime-fighting plan, what is your leadership style that you intend to practice whilst the head of the Tobago Division?
What I can say, and I've been saying it since yesterday, even to my officers, is that one could expect me on the ground. I am not an office person. I am a person of action, and therefore I have given all instructions to all under me that khaki boots will hit the ground running. We have to lead by example, and therefore this crime fighting in Tobago calls for active leadership and participation with our troops, because we are operating in a period of exponential change, a period in which our young officers requires that level of resilience and commitment where they can be encouraged in order to go forth in this fight. The experience of the senior leaders is necessary, and therefore we cannot sit comfortable in our offices and not assist. I have also been, for those of persons who know me, I came out of the operations in terms of working with communities. So I must say that I am welcome on the island, and informations are coming to me, and I want to thank all those persons who have been providing me with the informations in order to help reduce crime and criminality on the island. And therefore, we're going to use these information in the most confidential way in order to bring a dent on the situation that is taking place in Tobago.
Let me speak about what you just said, that relationship with you and your officers there on the island of Tobago. You know, I'm certain that thus far everything that you've suggested is all well and good, but what about dealing with the low productivity of officers on the island there? There have been not very positive comments about the response of the TTPS on the island of Tobago. Even you have acknowledged that. How do you plan on dealing with low productivity of officers on the island?
For me, I always tell my officers that titles are granted, but it's your behavior that will earn you respect. And therefore, I have started about in terms of utilizing motivational strategies in which will ensure that officers work in partnership and work in a productive manner. Now, even yesterday, I was listening to some concerns as I go out and meet the people, meet the officers, sworn and unsworn at the point they are at. And I'm taking copious notes and listening to their concerns. And some may have been disenchanted by the way in which the situation, they are being burned out coming through the COVID pandemic, the shortage of staff that we have in Tobago, and people more or less tired to some extent. And therefore, the best way to do is to motivate people. in providing that guidance and support and being there with them, showing them that you care and understand the person's situation, what it is they are going through, how they are being affected, and work with them. Therefore, it is my intention to ensure that these strategies are utilized in order to motivate them in order to move on. But I'm there to say that all is not lost. Dirty waters do not stop plants from growing. So we are not about letting the negative words and some of these negative issues stop our progression from being productive.
Mm-hmm. Would you say, in that same sense, that there are too many Tobago police officers as part of the Tobago Division? Is there a need for the inclusion of officers from Trinidad?
I would agree with you to some extent that there needs to be some rotation over time. Tobago is a relatively small place, and therefore it can be affected by friendship, kinship, and relationship. And I think that this is a strategy that will be used sometime in order to ensure that we have a different pool of human resources in order to support our initiative of crime fighting on this island.
And would you say that you have been given your fair share or what is available, the resources made available to you? Would you say that it is adequate in your crime fighting plans?
Quite certainly, the number is not adequate. However, one needs to understand that we are working in the context where we are working in, that therefore you have to find ways in order to deal with change. You have to find creative ways in order to problem solve and to minimize risk in using that in minimizing risk and reducing risk. And therefore, within Trinidad and Tobago, we are operating within a situation where we are challenged by crime, and therefore people are asking for various human and material resources, and therefore it's no different. So going over the waters and shouting and asking for things that you know that is not there, what is best needed is to embrace our community partnership engagement, so that what I have been doing is utilizing the other arms of security on the island, just as the TTDF. I have been utilizing the other security agencies. We have the Port Authority, we have the prisons, we have the fire, we have the Coast Guard, we have the customs. All these agencies, since I came, I met with the head of these divisions, and I am working on a plan in that will see us work harmoniously together in problem solving. One has to understand that this issue of security and crime is all of us concerns, and therefore we need to be able to form that partnership and not for 1 minute believing that that police alone can do it. Mm-hmm. And hence the reason why we have engaged in that extended stakeholder partnership to bring a level of a plan that will see us working at different times in order to deal with these problems. We understand the people, we understand our strategy, and we are working with a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, ACP Hazel, the question about your position as head of the Tobago Division and the Eastern Division. Now, I don't think there are many doubts as to your capability and your experience to actually carry out your duties and responsibilities. But the mere fact that you have to manage the crime-riddled Eastern Division as well as the Tobago Division, well, that does raise questions about crime management and effective law enforcement. That being said, do you think that it is stretching yourself and your responsibilities? Is it stretching you too thin, too far, and too wide, where there will not be optimum focus on the island of Tobago?
I want to share with you and the listening public this phrase that I always speak about. I think we while I spoke to the fact that we are operating in exponential change, one needs to understand that time has changed. People change, problems change, technology changes, but leadership endures. And therefore, COVID has taught us that you do not have to sit in Eastern Division to manage Eastern Division. I am a project manager as part of my professional background. And therefore, in project management, you can be in Wales and manage a project in Port of Spain. And clearly, I am seeing that has been no problem that I cannot manage in terms of treating with that. So that is not going to be an issue for me. My commissioner of police, in whom I have the greatest amount of respect, and with whom is leading this organization at a time where it is challenging, but I'm certainly that she is most focused and directed and up to the task, knows the capability of her officers, and she placed them where she can get the best result out of it. I am one to give her 100% in all that I do.
Well, getting the best out of it, earlier in the conversation you said that how your boots will be on the ground on the island of Tobago. Now, though you've just alluded to you not necessarily needing to be in Eastern Division to deal with the situation there, arguably, given the status of criminal activity within the Eastern Division, and you wanting to have your boots on the ground in Tobago, don't you think it's just a matter of too much, and it also speaks perhaps citizens not being absolutely confident in seeing the head of the division on the ground in Eastern Trinidad?
My function basically is to provide executive support and supervision to both divisions. But I mentioned leadership endures. And therefore, while I agree with you, and I said it, and I'm going to hold to my word that boots is going to be hitting the ground and I'm going to be leading it, I am not going to be giving out all my security strategies of when and where I'm going to be. And therefore, at any point in time, I am going to lead and I'm going to be taking others with me in this as First Division officers so that we provide that support and resilience and motivation to our younger officers. However, I want one to feel comforted that the office of the Assistant Commissioner is based in Tobago, and of course it is also based in the Eastern Division. So fear not, we are about dealing with the issues, and of course at this point in time, we are ensuring that we celebrate every small win. I want to give the assurance that tough times don't last, but I say to you, tough people do.
So therefore, it is obviously the only way is that in order to judge the progress and to judge your progress, again, not questioning your capability and your experience, but the people of Tobago and the people of the Eastern Division of Trinidad could hold you accountable for the crime management and the fighting against crime and criminal activity.
Quite certainly, as a leader, you wear the crown, and therefore your attitude will determine your altitude. Certainly, I am going to lead, and I'm going to be leading by example.
Mm-hmm. Well, ACP Collis Hazel, we could only extend our support to you, and I wish you all the very best in your fight. During your tenure, I look forward to positive change, growth, and development. So all the best to you, sir. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all that you're doing for what is to come. Keep well, sir, and all the best.
Thank you very much to you and all your viewers, and do look forward to a successful crime fighting initiative as we work together in partnership to solve mutually defined problems. Mm-hmm. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir. Well said.